welcome back. We have a very special guest this week. I have Shamirah with me, and we're going to be hearing her story. I'm excited to chat and get to hear her story, so I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Like she said, my name is Shamirah. I'm 33. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, shoot.
So, just to start, I would love to hear your story of getting diagnosed and just in general how you found out, what kind of red flagged for you, and were you classic or mosaic?
Okay, so how we found out was I was about, I guess, 12 or 13. Um, so I was diagnosed later on. They didn't catch it like at birth or anything like that. Um, it was more so my mom. She noticed, like everyone else, all my family, all my cousins that were around the same age as me. Um, she noticed how they were developing and changing, and every female goes through that transition time where you know they um, develop and they transition into womanhood, so to speak. And she noticed that there was nothing, you know what I mean? I didn't develop. I wasn't as advanced as the my other cousins and stuff. So she asked me a few questions and stuff like that. I answered them and she was like, it seems like we need to take you to the doctors. I don't know what's going on. And I'm short. Um, thankfully I'm at least 5 feet. I'm like 5 foot nothing, and I was like shorter than everybody else too. Um, so she noticed that, and so we went to the doctor. My doctor, of course, didn't know what was going on. They ran some tests. They did, ultrasounds. They did blood work. They did like CAT scans. They did like the works. They did everything. So they did find a couple other things too, like my heart, um, my hearing, my vision, stuff like that. All the classic things that go with being diagnosed with Turner syndrome. Um, so, so there's that, and then they finally said, this is what we think she has, um, and they were talking about starting me on the hormone therapy. So I started that, um, and then I slowly developed with that, of course, and you know, everything just went smoothly after that, and then they just put me on. I was down to just the pills. Um, and so I was just taking the pills, and that's how I got diagnosed. Thankfully, my doctor was super smart. Dr. Dustin Morris, he helped us out, and he's a great doctor. He's in Tucson.
Okay, very cool. So, did they do a karyotype at the end to finally get that official diagnosis?
Yeah, they did all of that. They did the whole workup. I think he said I am mosaic Turner syndrome or something, and he found out like I don't have any eggs, and uh, apparently I have very, very small ovaries and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, the test confirmed it, and I just been kind of just diagnosed with that, and
So,
I'm happy about it though. And then I met my husband. I am married. I'm 33. I'm married with a husband.
how long have you been married?
I've been married for 8 years. Actually, I've known him since I was 16 years old. So we're like high school sweethearts. And he's very open, and he's very accepting of everything. Um, but yeah, he's 35 right now. He's 35.
Very nice. That's cool. So that's funny that you were like, thankfully I hit 5 foot, or happily I hit 5 foot. It seems like 5 feet is the like coveted height. If you can at least hit that, you feel good.
Right. I wanted to hit 5'5", but but
Did they did they ever talk about doing, I mean, I guess at 12 or 13 that would be a little late to start from what I've heard, but did they ever talk about doing growth hormones with you?
Yeah, we kind of did the whole growth hormone thing, and it didn't really like I developed as much as I could, and then my mom didn't really want me to continue, so we kind of just stopped everything after a while. And I was like, when I stopped everything, I was like maybe 17 or 18.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard so many different experiences with growth hormones. It seems like you can never really tell how much of a difference it'll make for somebody.
Yeah.
So what would
It
you say?
definitely, it was definitely a weird time in my life.
Yeah, I would imagine at 12 or 13, that's a pretty, because that was when I started seeing a doctor for everything, but I was already diagnosed at that point. So it wasn't just finding out. Um, what was your initial reaction to the diagnosis? How did that feel?
It honestly, it just my whole world came crashing down, to tell you the truth. Like I knew I was different, like I knew I was different from all my other family members and stuff. Um, but just like when they tell you everything that comes along with having Turner syndrome, and the thing that hit the most hardest was me not being able to have a child of my own naturally. um, they told me I would have challenges, and even if you do IVF, that there's still challenges with that too. So that hit hard. And me and my mom went through it at that time. It affected our relationship. I blamed her for a while, but then of course you get over that and you kind of mature past that. And so yeah, and that actually made me and my mom super close. But I was devastated. I was devastated. I didn't know how to react to that news, because ever since I could remember, I just wanted to be I just wanted to be like a mom. You know what I'm saying? Like I just wanted to be able to have a child. Like when every little girl goes through that phase where they play with dolls and they pretend like they're their mom, and stuff like that. And I would do that all the time. And just that reality that that's probably not going to happen for you naturally anyway, that it really did hit hard.
Yeah, I think the biggest part you have to process through, at least for me, was sure there's options, but those options aren't easy.
Yeah.
And so even though there's ways, it's still, and there's a lot of, I don't know, I've always likened it to grief. You are grieving something.
Yeah, it's definitely a grieving process. I agree with you on that. Definitely, like it's kind of like you're grieving a loss in a way. And it hit hard for my family too, because I have a huge family. I come from a big family, and when everybody found out that I wasn't able to have children, everybody just felt like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And we went through that whole thing, and you go through the whole thing with people telling you, oh, it'll happen, don't worry, just pray about it. I'm gonna pray that you'll have your own children one day. And you go through that whole thing with your family as well.
Yeah. So medically, what would you say has been the biggest way? I mean, obviously infertility, but has there been anything else that you felt like has significantly impacted you from Turner's?
I feel like, learning wise, I feel like that has affected me too. Because I would notice that, everybody else is super smart and they could remember everything. And I just always felt like everybody else was so much smarter than I was. But um, in high school, I did go through, in the beginning of high school anyway, I was in like special ed classes and stuff like that. But they gave me like tests and stuff like that. And then they put me in regular classes for the last 2 years of high school. I was in regular classes, and I was mostly a C and B student, really. So, and then I did go on to go to college, and I did graduate college. Um, but I told myself, no matter what, like as long as I give it my all, I can do whatever, whatever I put my mind to. So I just kind of not let the academic part put me down. I've always stayed positive about that as well, because that was a big issue too when I was growing up as an adolescent. I just didn't feel that smart because of it.
Yeah, it's hard when you feel like you're trying as hard as you can and it's just something that your brain just it feels like your brain isn't wired that way.
Exactly. It feels like your brain is like wired differently.
Hmm.
And I definitely went through that phase too, and I kind of got over it towards, the high school, because I noticed, all my friends would help me, and, I had my family to help me, study and try to push me to motivate me to do better in school and stuff.
That's good. A support system can mean a huge difference.
And then, they would put me in the front of the class because I wore glasses and I had trouble hearing, and I got tubes put in my ears and stuff like that. So it was kind of like the teacher paid attention to me. So that was that was a thing too.
That can make a big difference too when you have a teacher that understands what kind of extra help you might need or what little adjustments might help you.
Yeah. It just seemed like it took a lot longer for the information that the teachers were putting out to sink in. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed like what the teacher was saying, like I would hear it and I would like, but then when it came time to understand it, it was kind of like I understood it in my own way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you have to translate it into your own language.
Yeah.
I definitely get that. Um, you've mentioned hearing quite a bit. Did you have a lot of ear infections? I'm curious.
Yes. Yes. I pretty much all throughout my childhood, I've had multiple ear infections. I was hospitalized for ear infections. So I guess that's when they finally decided to put like tubes and stuff in my ears and figure what was going on and stuff like that. So, and I've actually had to get those done like 3 times.
Oh, wow.
So, but I think that played a big part in, my academic as well, me being able to not to hear and stuff like that, that well.
Yeah. Yeah, oh man, trying to struggle through being able to hear
Yeah, I
fully.
mean, now I'm good. Now I'm good. I can hear now. Thankfully, I have no issues with my hearing now. Um, but
That's good.
other stuff is still there. Like, my husband is currently trying to teach me to drive, and he would, I don't know what it is. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. He's very patient with me when it comes to teaching me how to drive.
Well, that's nice that he's trying to help you though. How was the process for you of telling him everything?
Oh, so that's that was another like hard hard issue that we had to face. When we met in high school, I didn't tell him anything. He didn't had no idea, stuff like that. I decided to tell him a couple of years later. I think I was like 18 or 19 when I told him. And we had just got our first apartment, and he was asking me questions like, oh, are you okay? He was kind of concerned at a point to where as though he was like, you haven't even, I'm not able to track your ovulation or your menstrual cycle. I'm not, we haven't talked about having children, and is everything okay? And I don't know, I just kind of, it was basically like a emotional outburst. I basically just told him everything, and he was just like, oh, you could have told me, and it's okay, it's not your fault, I wish you would have just told me sooner. You're going through this alone, and stuff like that. And he was just very supportive and very understanding, and he said, you don't have to be alone in that, it's okay, if we have to adopt, that's what we're going to do. He would tell me, there's a lot of kids that need a home and love and everything like that. And I told him if he still wanted to be with me, and he said yes. Um, and ever since then, he's been my rock. He's been everything to me. He's been so supportive, understands. But in the back of your mind, there's that, like, I don't know if it's the same with everyone else, but with me, it's all still that guilt that it's kind of like you take that option away from them. When they get into a relationship with you, because like and you can't give them. And he really wants a child. Trust me, he sees how big my family is and how much these children mean to me, and everything like that. But he's understanding and he's patient, so he's open to adoption. He's open to anything that I want to do. He's completely 100% supportive with everything.
That's
But it
so
was scary. It was really, really nerve-wracking. It really was.
yeah, it's a scary thing. It's not
Mhm.
a simple conversation to have because it is tied up in so many emotions.
It did.
There's
It let out so much. Like, I let him in. Like, all my feelings. I felt like, I told him I felt he was gonna leave me for somebody that can have a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it gets to that point where he really, really, really wants a child, I feel like, that he could just leave me and have a child. You know what I mean? So that really, we actually, we talked about it really deeply, real in depth about it, and he said he would never do that, and he understands and stuff like that.
yeah, it's oh man. And having somebody that understands and that's in it with you
Mhm.
is one of the most important things ever.
Yeah.
Because it's already such a hard thing, and you do grieve not just for yourself, but you grieve for them too. You're
Mhm.
definitely right. A lot of the struggle I feel like we have is, like 30% we really want this in general, we want kids. And then there's also when you're married, there's a part of it that's like, and I really want to give that to them.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Because I feel like he deserves to be a dad. He's great with kids, and he deserves to be a dad. And I'm just it's just all this struggle that we would have to go through and all that. It's like it's a lot. It's a lot to for someone else to take on, and I come to him and I ask him to take on this burden with me, and it's like you feel like you're being unfair.
Yeah, it does feel like you're asking a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
I love my husband for accepting me, and I'm thankful every day that he's still by my side, and we've been together for so long, and we basically grew up together. Like I said, I've known him since I was 15, 16. So we went through school together, went, what I'm saying, like everything. We've been through everything together, and fact that he accepts it is amazing to me. He's an amazing person, and you know I wish I can give him the child that he wants right now, but he knows that it's going to take some time. Like if we want to adopt, or if we want to try, IVF or anything like that. But he also knows what comes along with that process and the whole process, and the expenses and everything like that. And we're still paying off our student loans and everything like that. We're still paying off like different houses and stuff. But and not to mention this, the everyday today expenses that you spend. But he works hard every day, and I'm here to support him, and he's here to support me. And
he in the cuckoo clock, and he in the cuckoo clock.
Okay. Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody that is around that same age you were when you were diagnosed? What would be your biggest piece of advice for them?
My biggest piece of advice for someone of that age who was diagnosed would be just to, do everything you can to stay healthy, and just to find a good support system. And just know that you're not alone, because I know when I was going through it, I just felt alone because I didn't even know like who else had it. I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know about it. So just try to get in touch with people that'll help you, and people that understand what you're going through, and the other different challenges that you'll face. Just take any help that is offered to you.
I love that. That's so true. So I think that's everything I had. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you would want to share?
Just in general about like how, like, telling everyone else. I feel like that is a big thing that we need to all touch on, because some people, you get the questions all the time from people. Oh, when are you going to have a child? When are you going to have a child? Especially when you get to that age where you're in different relationships with people, that are going to start asking those questions. And I feel like a lot of us need to touch on that more. I see a lot of, people saying, just, oh, you guys can adopt or whatever, and this and that. But like, I want people to touch more on how to tell somebody, like how to talk to somebody else about it. Like being polite about asking somebody when they're going to have a child, because I don't like when I have to explain it to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like explaining to them, oh, I can't have a child.
Yeah.
It's like a big thing for me. I don't like to explain that to somebody. So I feel like we need to touch on different ways to react on when somebody does ask you that question.
That's a very good point. I do actually maybe have a podcast episode coming out about one little piece of that, just because it's one phrase I hear all the time is, oh, you can always just adopt. Well, just adopt is a very interesting way of putting it, but yeah. So, but I totally agree. We talk about so many other aspects of, how we have to handle all of those emotions and all of that. And I don't feel like there's much coaching for how somebody responds themselves to it when somebody tells them. And yeah, so you are very, very right. There should be more out there about that. And whether there's issues or not, or the person is just too, like, the couple has just not gotten there yet, it's kind of, that all still applies as far as politely asking.
Yeah, it took me a while to accept everything. And like I knew it wasn't normal, but like, once everything was like diagnosed, and once everything was said, and once all my family knew, it was kind of like they did kind of treat me different. They treated me like I was like I don't know, like a fragile thing or something.
Mm.
And, I want to touch about that too. Like, I don't like that's like something that affected me as well. Like, I want to be treated normal by my family and friends and stuff like that
Yeah.
because I am. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
definitely. I mean, it's always appreciated when somebody wants to be sensitive to that, but you also don't want them walking on eggshells around you, like you're going to break at any second just because somebody brings up somebody being pregnant.
hmm
So I understand that too. There's a balance in that.
like my great aunt Sylvia, she just found out that my sister, the mother of my nephew that I have right here with me, she just found out that she's gonna have a child again, and she asked, "Oh, when's Shamirah gonna have a child?" And I'm just like, you know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh my god, how
Yeah.
did I do? But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot that I would like to discuss, and I need to start, I do need to start opening up more to people and letting people, in and talking to them, and and I'm looking forward to meeting more people, like myself, such as myself, who are diagnosed with this, and who live their life with this, and I would like more friends that I can relate to.
Yeah. Having others, Turner syndrome comes with such unique stuff. I've always said there's a huge difference in having other people that are struggling with that same thing versus somebody that maybe just you've explained it to and they kind of understand. Um,
Yeah.
it's very different. And I think every person with Turner syndrome can benefit from having at least one other person with it that they can talk to about that stuff.
I agree.
So, well, thank you so much for talking with me. It was really great getting to chat and hear your story.
You as well.
Okay, well, have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, bye, Joey.
Bye.